Phish to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares on the best part of my day.
The goods from the woods.
Hot damn!
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
Pat Riley. This is a good night. Man of the hour, the tower of power, too sweet to be sour, and real high up on this microphone. So sliding the lever down.
Today, all you hip-happening hippies and flower children, we're talking jam bands with our friend. Say your name, buddy.
Oh, Joe Quint. I didn't know that was me. I didn't know that was me.
It's the brown acid. It does that.
Mm-hmm. Before we get into, I wanted to, because I put up a thing online because this last week was fucking horrible and crazy and shitty.
Yeah.
And so I just put up, trying to add a little levity to the situation. I just wrote, that friend from high school that you haven't talked to in a while, they're definitely being racist on Facebook right now, and got a lot of support. And in the comment section, unearthed small town drama of epic proportions going on in my hometown right now. Basically, a guy that I went to high school with, a guy I don't really know very well, basically got into it with a bunch of people over hashtag All Lives Matter, a bunch of shit.
Oh, man.
Said a bunch of awful racist things. Then somebody reported him to his job, the higher ups at his job, which is as a manager of the Captain D's.
Which, by the way, if you guys have never been to Captain D's is literally the worst fast food chain.
The worst restaurant
in America.
I disagree because I disagree because I think Carl's Jr. is much worse.
Really? The Captain D's?
Oh yeah.
Besides
Captain D's, at least the one around Richmond would give you money a discount if you brought in a church bulletin on Sunday.
I've literally been to 3 separate Captain D's where my fish and/or my hush puppies had a green shine to them.
Well, it was for St. Patrick's Day, probably.
Probably.
I mean, they ran out of butter. They ran out of butter and used avocado. That's a California thing.
That's true. Well, I mean, one of them was in Savannah, so it could have been the leftovers from St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, I was going to lose this Irish there.
Basically, it turned into a fracas online. The guy was fired by his mother, who owns the restaurant, by the way. God. And so, as if this little situation wasn't sad enough, his own mom had to let the guy go because now there's a goddamn protest going on outside of the Captain D's. You need a little bit of levity after such a shitty week, and this was just perfect. And somewhere in the fracas, a person jumped in, and I'm just going to read select parts of it because a lot of it could be libel. So I'm not trying to step too far into the water here, but I'll just read the funniest part. This person just in the Facebook discussion said, his dad's a bum and they sleep in the same bed as the goat used to sleep in.
Yeah, but the guy on Sanford and Son did that.
Literally slept in the same bed as the goat, or is this like a southern expression?
Lay in the same bed. To coin a phrase.
Shameful.
And the goat that you're going to be sleeping with just going to be shameful.
But then they go, let's see. I can also disgrace his family and upload pictures of his daddy, but this is my daughter's Facebook page, and I will not do that.
This sounds like a blood feud starting. What has happened to this country? The feuds used to be fought with bullets, and now they're fought on Facebook.
Now they're fought on Facebook, yeah. So
somehow that doesn't seem better.
I mean, they actually, people organize a protest at the Captain D's just for your Facebook post, based on your Facebook post?
No. This was on another thing. If you live in East Alabama, I support the boycott Captain D's Facebook page, which is up. You can, if you want to just read all of the drama, boycott Captain D's Auburn, Opelika, and Valley locations is the name of the Facebook.
That's a long. It's a Facebook page. I thought it was one continuous hashtag. That's 142 characters long.
Mr. Goodnight, like all real Americans, goes on vacation over the 4th of July, and it comes back, and now Captain D's is What did I miss?
It's just these 3 Captain D's where the
Okay, just 3 Captain
only
D's are
3
now
locations. Yeah, not
in Opelika.
in Opelika Valley in Auburn.
Okay.
It's not a chain wide epidemic.
So
it's
if you get
localized to
outside
East Alabama.
If you get outside the plains, if you will,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
then don't nobody care about this.
Nobody gives a
But
shit.
in the plains, they're fighting over this one tooth and nail.
And they already fired the guy, so in my head, the problem's been taken care of. But any excuse to go out and yell at a small seafood restaurant, I'm all in favor of.
See, but the yellow seafood. The thing that we learned with also is just don't go on the internet and Facebook and won't have any trouble. I had no clue any of this happens because I've been on vacation 4th of July, going to the beach and smoking ash and watching Curious George, if you will.
What beach did you go to?
All of them. I went Long Beach. We bring down the doggies. Snoop Dogg was not there. Doc Weiler. I've been going to them all. Venice, Redondo, of course. That's where Mr. Goodnight hangs.
Yeah, of course.
But hitting that stuff heavy. But of course, we have a guest.
Yes, yeah. So
I know with the late breaking bulletin with Captain.
yeah, I
D's.
just wanted to give you the news from Auburn, Alabama.
And you started it all, Rivers.
No, I came in. I just came in about halfway in an argument, and then it kind of bled over into my post. I don't think that the main person involved. We're not Facebook friends.
So the Captain D's controversy is spread everywhere.
It's an epidemic. It's like the fucking Zika virus down there. It's catching on quick. Everyone is mad at the captain.
Well, I hope they settle it soon because there's a few Sundays I might be
precise,
missing.
the son of the captain.
The son of the cap. Yeah, the son of the captain.
Ignorant.
The ignorant, backwards, awful son of the
contemptible son of the captain.
Son of the captain. And by the way, when you get fired from Captain D's, they do call it walking the plank.
Oh my god!
At least they don't whoop you anymore.
They should do a thing where they have all the other people that like work at the Captain D's dress wear shark costumes and they just throw hush puppies at them and stuff.
Shame. Hey, me boy, we're gonna send you down to Davy Jones' locker. It's what we call the unemployment office.
This is like working at SpongeBob.
Yeah. You walk a plank into the dumpster.
Now then, jam bands. Woodstock.
So you're wearing the Jerry Garcia shirt.
That's right.
This is an important question.
Oh, I thought that was a Yakuza shirt or something.
Because he's missing a finger.
Yeah.
One of his
middle finger.
Middle finger
Half
to
of the middle finger. Yeah.
Well, that's a bad finger to lose.
Yeah, especially. Well, I mean, it was
Can't
on,
flip people to bird.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if you're, he lost it. It's on his right hand.
Stump,
So,
maybe.
Yeah, it's a strumming hand, so it actually made it's a big advantage for him in the end because he could strum faster with less interference from his right middle finger.
Yeah, of course. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
How did he lose his? He lost it as a kid,
Chopping
right?
wood, right?
I thought it was like a sailing accident. It's been a while since I've.
I thought it was just chopping wood with an axe.
Yeah, that's what I thought it
That's
was,
what I
too.
think VH1 told me, and they wouldn't lie.
Yeah, but this is
The most shocking, the 100 most shocking dismemberments of rock and roll.
But then again, this is the same station that said that Whitesnake was a better hard rock band than Bad Brains. So you can't always believe what they say.
Well, I didn't say I agree with their normative stuff, but their historical information is fairly reliable, I think.
I always maintain that when the discussion of jam bands comes up and people mention the Grateful Dead as a jam band, I would point out that the originator of a genre isn't responsible for what happens next.
Yes.
Therefore, the Grateful Dead, Santana, those kinds of bands are exempt.
Yeah.
Because if you're the first person to start something, you're not responsible for the for Sound Tribe Sector 9.
Right.
Well, I blame them though. I blame them.
Do you?
Sound Tribe Sector 9.
Yeah, that's.
Oh man.
Are they worse, better or worse than Family Force 5?
Ooh.
Are these like
know Family
sci-fi
Force.
shows from the 70s? I don't know what any of this stuff
Family
is.
Force 5 was the official band of MySpace.com during the peak of MySpace.com.
So that was 2006.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what this shit is now. It's not just me.
I'm sorry.
But
Can we say that, or is it have to be a brand name? Can we swear on this? I always forget.
yeah.
Oh, we can? Okay.
No, just not me. I'm not allowed.
Oh, yeah, Pat can't swear.
I can't swear.
It's in his contract.
Yeah,
They run him out of academia like it was walking the...
Like
they
it
make him walk the plank.
Yeah,
like Do you consider Grateful Dead a jam band?
No,
or-
I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah.
For that exact reason. I mean, they started off as like Americana.
Yeah, exactly.
Like bluegrass.
Americana.
Yeah, which is the great catch-all phrase for just,
Right.
folksy shit.
Well, they were kind of the first band that did that, really. Like, the breakdown of the Grateful Dead is interesting because each member kind of had a different interest as far as music went. So you had Bobby, who was like a huge Elvis freak. You had Pigpen, who was the blues guy. You had Jerry, who was a banjo picker.
Rivers knows his shit.
You had Phil Lesh, who was, before he ever picked up a bass guitar, was like writing experimental orchestra music.
Yeah, man.
And then you've got the two drummers who I know Mickey Hart currently is like part of like a restoration project at the moment with the Smithsonian, where they're like finding like old blues records and like digitally fixing them and stuff like that, so you can actually hear them. So I think he's a blues guy. And then Billy's like into like African beats and like world.
I thought
That's more
I
Mickey.
thought Billy was
Mickey's
Mickey's
the
the
African
African
guy,
beats.
and then
Yeah.
and then Billy just
Okay, now we're on a
like
first-name
rhythm devils.
basis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Billy's really into like offensive rebounds and
Yeah.
protecting the key.
yeah. But they all have.
He's a member, right?
Right. But the point is, they all come from kind of a different, interest of music, which is why it's hard to kind of define their sound, is because you have such.
Oh, I could define it in a word.
What's that?
Noodly.
Noodly? Yeah.
Because
Noodle,
that's what they have this sound and they just kind of jam.
Yeah, they just keep going and going.
See, I don't think they're not as noodly as like Phish or like that. Like Phish,
Well, that
actually,
takes it to a whole nother level.
Phish's music sounds like Noodles. Like that's like the Grateful Dead. Like they can tighten up if you hear their studio. They have a couple of studio records. Unlike most jam bands where their live records are what you should pay attention to, the Dead has 2 or 3,
they have
whatever.
some good-
Actually,
some good
they
ones.
have
Very
a lot
tight-
of different
tight studio
Axel
records.
Moxa never come. What was the one with the Dark
Right.
Star, the psychedelic one? It's like the second record.
Live Dead. Well, it's on Oxo. Yeah, Oxo.
Yeah.
Oxo, yeah.
So they have all kinds of shit. That is true. They did do stuff as recording artists, especially in the earlier days.
Yeah, but they always lost a fuck ton of money on all of their studio records. Like they were the worst money managers of all time.
Well, and also it's actually kind of hard to find original pressings of Dead albums because they didn't press that many, and the people who bought them hung on to them until they literally fell apart.
Right, yeah.
So you have to buy the repressings for all those.
And they really gave like the co-op a good shot. Like they really thought they could do everything like in that true like kind of community socialist-ish shit.
Right. Well, they were like part of the Diggers, right? Like the San Francisco community like organization where they basically were like trying to start a commune in the middle of San Francisco in the late 60s. And
Yeah,
they were,
Hyde-Asbury and all that.
They were like the official band of the Diggers, so they would come and like play like the dinners they would have for all like the homeless kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In addition to all the acid tests and all that stuff.
Right. The pranksters and all that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Y'all guys are really up on your
Yeah.
Dead history here.
Oh man, I love that shit. What was the first exposure that you had to the Grateful Dead?
Honestly, it was through Phish first.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, actually, I take it back. I remember back in like high school, a girl I had a crush on made a mix CD for me, and it had "High Time," which is a Grateful Dead song on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, whatever. Like it was just like a really slow song. It doesn't really sound anything like the rest of the Dead's catalog.
Yeah.
But then I didn't like listen to anything else there for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Then the guy obsessed with Phish in the meantime, and then through Phish, I was like, oh, I guess I'll check out the Dead since there's like so much crossover.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because the rise of Phish kind of coincides perfectly with the death of Jerry Garcia, to the point where like the summer tour of the Dead ended.
Yep.
Jerry died,
Yep.
and then next summer everybody went over to Phish.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why I say, unlike most things, you can blame them. Mm-hmm. You can blame the Grateful Dead for what they spawned, because
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Dead's live show was such a big thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And every time they'd come around again, a new generation would get in. Well, we want to do this too. But then Jerry Garcia dies.
Right.
So they have to go somewhere.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
like you said, it was instant.
Yeah.
Instant.
Yeah.
Yep.
And- well, and then-
Widespread Panic didn't have a chance.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
Further Festival couldn't even dent it properly.
Well, I think it was later on where it became even more fragmented, where you had like your kind of bluegrass jam bands,
Right.
like your String Cheese Incident, stuff like that. Southern rock jam bands like Widespread Panic. And and then your electronic jam bands like your Disco Biscuits.
Oh
and your
my!
Soundtribe.
Disco Biscuits is the worst concert I've ever been to.
Really?
I hate the goddamn
Yeah.
Disco Biscuits.
I do
that's the
not
only-
know what the Disco
Oh man,
Biscuits is.
Me neither, but
they're
it
the only-
sounds like it tastes good.
Yeah.
Probably. if
It sounds
nothing
like
else.
the name of like a Beck song or something.
I want to get into the shit jam bands later, but let's get back to the Grateful Dead real quick. So you got into it through Phish.
Yeah.
Kind of like worked your way backwards.
Yeah. And then so like after like I'd exhausted like listening to as many Phish concerts as I possibly could. You get bored of that after a couple years.
How many times have you seen them?
Phish? I think 22, 23.
Jeez,
Yeah,
damn.
but that's
Wow.
light. That's on the low side.
Yeah.
You get bored of them after 78 or 79.
I mean, well, it's honestly like nowadays they don't jam as much as they used to. So
I've
it's
heard
like
that. There's like the post sobriety complaint about Phish. Which
So
is
that's the
Yeah.
is that the band you've seen the most?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the band that you've seen the most?
Drive-By
of?
Truckers. I've
Drive-By
seen probably
Truckers, yeah.
27, 28 times. Yeah.
Bob Dylan.
Bob
Bob Dylan. What about you?
Reverend Horton Heat.
Fucking
Ooh,
A,
nice.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Reverend
good
Horton
shit,
Heat.
man.
Well, you win that one. Can I switch it to Fart Barf? But we're not counting local bands.
Yeah, if we're counting local bands, probably the Brothers. But yeah. So you, what was the first like record you got? I mean, most people go American Beauty. That's sort of the starter point for most folks.
Yeah, American Beauty, then Working Man's Dead.
That's the one where High Time is off of.
Yeah, but then I was already hip to like knowing that their live shit was where it was at. Like I was already well acquainted. Like that's how you got into jam bands. So like I listened to the May 8th '77 show is like the most legendary show of all time because it was a mix of like awesome music but also like awesome recording quality. And it was just like the first widely.
Was that after they fired Owsley?
I think so. Yeah, it was up in Cornell, in New York.
Oh, okay.
But it's like
for a while, Owsley Stanley, who famously made the acid for the entire West Coast, was the Grateful Dead sound engineer.
Right, yeah.
His nickname was the Bear, and so there's a series of Dead concerts called Bear's Choice, and they sound like dog shit because the highest man in the world is mixing the fucking sound on it.
yeah.
So it's a guy who's literally got the spirals in his eyes, just going, hey, let's turn up the gain.
Well, once
man.
again, we have demonstrated tonight that when you're really high, you cannot even use the
the sound levels.
yeah, you can't even figure out the sound levels on a microphone that you're talking to.
But it's really not the
just
sound
imagine
levels of your
mixing.
microphone. It's your headset.
I know, but I'll
headphones.
still do it every time I'll stop talking.
So yeah, that where is that? You said it's what, Cornell?
Oh, that concert? Yeah, that was at Cornell, May 8th, '77.
Huh, all right.
Because you're from the Northeast, right?
I'm from North Carolina.
Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
NC dog.
So the Northeast.
He can still
of
listen
the
to a
South.
concert at Cornell. He can still go to Cornell.
Well,
They don't have-
because that was the thing about jam bands. Because growing up, I didn't know of jam bands as a popular entity. I knew like that, the Grateful Dead existed. I knew that because my dad had the records, and I know that there were some other bands from here and there. But like I didn't know it was a thing until I went to college, and then
Oh, do you mean
everybody that
because
was and
it's
everybody
really big in like Vermont and places.
yeah, everybody
like
that was
New
from
York,
everybody, New
Yeah.
York, because there's a lot of people from New
Jersey.
York and Jersey that went to my school, and people like mentioned all these bands, and I was just like, "What? People listen to this?" Like,
Yeah.
I thought these were just like things. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, I was the same way till I was 16. That's when I discovered Phish just through the internet, just like finding it that way. And I was like the only person I knew at my high school who was into that shit, at all.
Yeah, because everybody I went to high school because I went to high school in Florida, and nobody listened to jam bands. Everybody listened to like what I like to like the Florida equivalent of jam bands, which are just like bands that are really into pot, and stuff like that. So it would be like
311.
Oh,
311,
slightly stupid.
Slightly stupid, Cottonmouth Kings.
Oh God, Jesus.
Sublime, obviously.
Sublime,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like kind of their equivalent for jam
Yeah,
bands.
yeah.
Like if you grew up in say like Ohio, it would be like the Insane Clown Posse or something like that.
Right,
So I didn't know. I always assumed it was like a regional thing, but you're from North Carolina,
Good night.
and you were into it from.
Good night does not understand.
He's talking about he's naming the worst things possible. That's what's in Florida. But if you're from Ohio, it's Insane Clown Posse.
You got lucky. I think most of those bands, because I grew up in a college town, so most of those bands existed purely as bumper stickers to me for years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You say you discovered Phish. I was thinking, how could you miss the bumper stickers?
Yeah.
They were. That's how Grateful Dead. When you're a little kid, you don't know what it is. Like, what do those funny bears mean that I always see on
Right.
Volkswagen buses?
Or your eat your face logo.
Steal your face.
Steal your face. Sorry.
Yeah.
please, Pat. So steal your face.
I know. I own the album.
Get it right.
That album is dog shit, by the way. The actual Steal Your Face album is terrible.
Yeah, no, I just inherited it. So.
But yeah, growing up, you'd see, at least where I grew up, you would see the Dave Matthews Band, the Fire Dancer.
Right, the Fire Dancer.
You'd see that.
Yep.
You'd see Widespread Panic stickers, and you'd see Phish stickers and Grateful Dead all over. That's my friend Johnny Mose, who was on an episode of the show. Follow him at JMose on Twitter. I'm stealing his impression. This is his like one note impression of Dave Matthews. It's just
I'm so glad I'm a little bit older and all this shit wasn't popular with cool kids.
It wasn't
in my day.
Not necessarily cool kids. Yeah, I would call like the jam band crowd, or at least at my high school, like the cool adjacent.
Well,
where
Phish was one thing.
Really
but
into soccer, like the soccer students.
To me, Dave Matthews was like the prepification
of
like the hippie thing.
100%. That was for me. I was a big Dave Matthews fan, like early high school.
Oh man, yeah.
Like went to I was like fourth row at a Dave concert one time. That was great.
Yeah.
But then like once you get into Phish, you're like, oh, that's baby food.
Yeah.
It's child's play.
Dude, what do you think about Dave's cover of Waste, man?
Oh, I mean, that was like Dave was apparently an awful influence on Trey and Anastasio. Like that was like the height of they both were like so into like Oxy and every other kind of like
college drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like back in like early 2000s. Like I'm pretty sure Dave led to Trey getting arrested and eventually getting sober.
Hold on a second.
This episode needs a glossary.
Yeah, I know. So Trey Anastasio, who's the head honcho of Phish.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was the South
Matthews.
Park guy.
Yeah. They became friends like early 2000s.
So they were both addicted to hillbilly heroin?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then regular heroin.
Hold on now.
And they went to
this isn't a band we're talking about here.
No, this is the lead singer of Phish. And
hillbilly heroin. It's not a band.
No,
that's OxyContin.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just making sure because in this context,
hillbilly heroin is such a good. Yeah.
Well, look, Trey went to 30 hillbilly heroin concerts.
Oh, dude, yeah.
we already had Disco Biscuits.
I saw him open for Keller Williams, man.
Was that the blind girl that won the Nobel Prize?
Yeah, and she's saying "Freaker" by the speaker. This is going to be one of those episodes like the UFO episode where you just scratch the surface a little bit and realize that I have an embarrassingly deep knowledge of all of this stuff because this was my shit.
Yeah, no, it was some kind of Grateful Dead history. They need a new thing, Rivers Picks. That reminds me. Grateful Dead was very ahead of their time. Grateful Dead invented dick pics. That's right. They don't get credit for that.
Who was Dick and who gave him the legitimacy to make good pics?
He was their archivist. I think he had all the tapes. He'd been like listening to all their shit for like years and years and years. Been on the road with them.
Yeah.
And then once Jerry died, they're like, well, I guess we'll let Dick. What's his? I can't
we'll let
remember
Dick
his last
pick.
name. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll let Dick pick. Yeah. But yeah, no, I
Can you pick Dick?
I saw all those bands just as like bumper stickers in my hometown, and it really wasn't until I was about 14 and I actually found the Grateful Dead through going to Philmont with the Boy Scouts, where they had all of these campsites where they would have all the counselors basically playing banjos and instruments and stuff at the campfire every night, and so they played like Bruce Springsteen songs, but then also like the band, John Prine, and the Grateful Dead. I heard a lot of and kind of discovered all of those. So the song "Friend of the Devil" was the first one I heard, but I heard it just like as like some 18-year-old kid out in the middle of New Mexico singing it by a campfire. I'm like, fuck, that's a great song.
Well, isn't that the way to learn it, really?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the one with the guy whose uncle, him and his uncle?
Oh, it's
Me and My Uncle.
Me and My Uncle, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That song was actually written by John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas.
Oh, yeah.
I do love because Bob Weir was into all those like cowboy song type shit. So they do have like a lot of like cowboy desperado.
They cover El Paso by Marty Robbins. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they knew all the old stuff and all that. And they had a good shooting, brother, shooting. Everybody's a fan more than other. Grateful Dead, as far as I was concerned, I thought always had the right influences and always had the right ideas, but somehow just, the way it came out to me was a little more like unfocused and noodly.
Yeah, it was definitely unfocused.
Yeah, I would say. I think the two times that band got focused, they made their two best records, which is Working Man's Dead and American Beauty, which literally like they went.
Well,
to,
those two are like Siamese twins almost. They're always spoken about as like one thing.
They came out like the same year.
They came out the same year, and they actually went to Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and were like, "Can you please teach us how to sing?" And so that's why those harmonies on those records are just fucking beautiful. It's because they actually they came down to, I believe they recorded it in LA and had Crosby, Stills, and Nash come to the studio and teach them harmonic like singing and stuff like that. So you actually had...
The songwriting was good on that record too, I seem to recall.
Yeah, the songs were good. I mean, their songs were always really, good. It's just, it's a matter of how much jamming can you handle as
well, actually, let me ask y'all this. Because, Pat, are you acquainted with Deadhead?
I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where the Grateful Dead is one of those bands that I never got into, but it's just it's like Steely Dan. It's like I can acknowledge the fact that people really like them, and oh god,
and he's got the record right.
So hideous.
Rivers is like Johnny Fever or something.
That album is so hideous.
Oh, it's so good.
But it's like one of those bands where it's like, okay, I can acknowledge and understand what people's like.
Steely Dan, by the way, is what happens if a jam band tightens up. That's what it sounds like.
Or when a jam band goes to college or something and gets good grades in English, so they think they're real smart.
And they don't do any drugs, and they're just like, no, we're going to play this guitar solo until it sounds right.
And that's why, like they bet you about in their liner notes, the roadies are getting all the head from the groupies. But now, Dendo, since y'all was big-time Dead, I was thinking, I throw out a couple of records. You tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Shakedown Street.
No.
Don't like that one?
No good, no. I love that song, but there's like, because it epitomizes like 80s party drug Dead, which is its own, it's basically a totally different.
It's from like 77 though.
It is, but like that song didn't really get played a lot until around 1980. And
I thought that was well. I guess that it was their shot at obviously making a disco record.
Yeah.
Well, didn't it have Alabama Getaway though?
Alabama Getaway is on. No, that's the first track of Go to Heaven,
right?
Which is probably their worst record.
Yeah.
But that's the good song.
No, that
on the
song
bad
is
record,
great, but that rest of the record is dog
like
shit.
Tattoo You.
Yeah.
It's got two good songs, and the rest is dog shit.
That's exactly what Go to Heaven is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, Shakedown Street. I mean that album. I like the studio albums. I really don't care for outside of the early 70s. But
I'm sort of the outlier in jam band fandom because I actually love a lot of Phish's studio records.
I like a lot of Phish's.
I like a lot of the Dead studio records. I think Shakedown Street. I mean, has some really great songs. I prefer any live version of Good Lovin' to the the Shakedown Street version. But I actually have a soft spot for Donna Godshaw and her kind of singing. Like the song France. Anytime Bobby is trying to duet with a girl who can actually sing, I kind of love France a little bit. And I also like Fire on the Mountain. Fire on the Mountain is a good jam.
Great.
Yeah.
Donna is the most hated person among Deadheads.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like the most hated. And she was just doing her best. She was just trying to add a different
these guys are real connoisseurs with this stuff.
Talk about Donna Godshaw.
Well, she was the wife of Keith Godshaw, who is the main. So he was their second keyboard player who replaced after Pigpen died.
Yeah.
So there was already a little bit of like hesitation, like, I don't know how much we like Keith, but Keith was good. He had chops. He's actually a much better player of actual music than Pigpen was.
Pigpen died of alcoholism at 27, so he was pretty worthless. I mean, he's a great musician. He was a good singer, but as far as being a reliable dude,
he was like Jake the Snake.
He would literally wake up and drink a fifth of vodka just like for breakfast.
Yeah, he was. His last record with the band is my favorite of their live records, Europe '72. I think if you're trying to get into like the Grateful Dead and you've never heard any of their stuff before, and you want to hear like the good live thing, Europe '72 is fucking
Europe
perfect.
'72 is the argument for Jerry Garcia being one of the greatest guitarists of all time. It's fucking incredible. Legitimately incredible guitar playing on that record. But then it's because it's so tight. It's like the right mix of tight and explorative. But then after that, the drugs got to him.
Yeah. Well, I think and plus, if you're not even into like the really, the 30-minute Dark Star and shit like that, I think the longest song on there is Morning Dew, and it's like 11 minutes. So they don't really go that crazy.
If you go in the complete collection of Europe 72, there's like a 20-minute Dark Star.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You can find a longer version, but just the original Europe 72.
Yeah.
What's it? It's a 3/4. It's three vinyl collection. Sorry, we're bored.
That's like wine.
No. I had a similar sort of thing with a friend of mine, but it wasn't Grateful Dead. It was Velvet Underground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we would try and find the longest version of Sister Ray that we could possibly find. And he found like a 56-minute version of Sister Ray, which is hideous.
Yeah, of course.
There's a 50-minute playing in the band, which is a Dead song. There's a 50-minute version of that out there.
Yeah, somewhere. But like the Grateful Dead knew how to play their instruments.
Right. Yeah. The Velvet Underground was just one chord.
Yeah.
But people thought they were good because they hung around with Andy Warhol.
I mean,
and also they're like great too.
Well, they are great,
except when Doug Yule came in, and that's when it became.
Lou Reed was good, but I mean, I was in one of those places. It was some barbecue place. Actually, it was near Harvard Square or something once. And that Sister Ray thing came on, and I was like, "Man, this shit just stinks."
Yeah, that's a good one, because the thing is that if there's those electronic jukeboxes, like the computer jukeboxes that aren't hip to the jive.
Yep.
Like you can buy Sister Ray for like the rate of a normal song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's times in which we did the trick where we would where it's like, oh, there's too many people in this bar. We want to quiet it down.
Yep.
And we put on Sister Ray 2 times in a row.
Yep.
With $1 and
I used to do that with The End at Waffle House. That was my favorite.
Yeah, but see, that would
be
fun, because that'd be like being in Apocalypse Now.
It's exactly what it was like. That was it was just this beautiful, like, you would put it on and you would just get to hear all of the little things happening at the Waffle House. You'd have, some lady in the background just going like, "You guys gonna want any extra cheese on that?"
Yeah, see, because you have structure.
But yeah, you're playing This Is the End, and you just hear somebody go like, "My husband got drunk and fucked up my 20th birthday." And like, oh boy. Oh boy.
That sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
That's some true shit. But yeah, no, so Donna Godshaw is hated because of
mainly because during the most egregious one. She had a couple of songs that like a lot of people just didn't care for. They were a little bit too on the flowery side.
Yeah.
But then there was like a couple times, like playing in the band, there's a part where after the extended jam part, they come back around to the theme to like reprise it, and she has this wail, this classic like, "Oh yeah." And
so she's
like, fuck Donna.
Yeah, Donna is to the Grateful Dead as Ricky Medlock is to Leonard Skinner, I take it.
Yeah. I mean,
she had a big forehead and a low hairline, and
she's like if Yoko was married to Ringo instead, and Ringo came in late.
Wow, that's
excellent.
Perfectly put.
Did you have some Godshaw in the chamber there, so we can hear what it's all about?
I'm gonna try to find this particular wail.
I'm not familiar with her, and just based on the way you describe it, I'm gonna really get into it.
Yeah, this is the wail.
So we've ended an epic jam, and now this. That's not even that bad of one.
I was gonna say that's pretty good. That's her dialed in.
She's restrained.
Yeah, that one's not that bad. So this is the 70s, but by the 80s, that had turned into like, man.
Well, early, I'm trying to think when Keith died. Keith died, and then they kicked her out once Keith died, which was like, I think that was 79, potentially.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it was that early. I thought she was there like through like in the early 80s, but I guess
no, because they all hated. She wasn't even invited back to like the reunion they had a couple years ago.
Oh God!
And she's alive. She's still around. She has her own like career. Like
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. So I guess you're right about. I thought it went on longer than that, but
hey, man.
Yeah, it got worse. My point is, it got worse.
So she was the person that got replaced by Bill Walton in the band. Is that right?
Right. Right.
Was that the guy that was the 1, 2, 3 kid?
So yeah, let's move into Phish.
Sure, yeah.
So I fucking hated that band because I want to play the first song that I heard of theirs, and I made so much fucking fun of my friends.
Wow. Was not expecting this.
You weren't expecting the wedge?
No.
This. I gotta find the.
Is this a Blues Traveler song?
Just wait.
Revolving on the surface, and a shadow glides below.
Holy!
But now I'll never know.
This is okay.
This sounds like if Bare Naked Ladies dropped a bunch of acid and decided to.
This is the song that like
Lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson.
this is the song that like whenever I would make fun of Phish. This is the song that I would like. This is the song that I kind of parody.
Rivers
but I
has
didn't
a
even know
dance
this was
that
a
goes
real
with it.
song.
For someone who hates the song,
man.
Rivers is having an orgasm.
This is a visual medium, and I don't give it. I'll show you my Phish dance.
Take the highway to the grave. Yeah, man. Wow. That's they're coming to the forum in 12 days, and that's exactly what I will look like.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Are y'all going?
I'm not, but Wes is going, I think. Wes is coming back.
But y'all have to go so y'all can do that dance.
Yeah, I'll be on the floor for that one.
For a guy who hates this song, Rivers, that was quite a damn dance.
I got into it later. So I came around to it.
That's so funny.
But, my friends started listening to Phish, and all I knew of them, as I mentioned, was that they were a fucking bumper sticker. And so we were in, I think it would probably be 2001, maybe. Like they had the beginning of the first hiatus, and so it already happened. So
2001, yeah.
Yeah, and so they were already like kind of, we could never go see them live at that point, just because they were off the road. But I don't know. But a bunch of friends got into it, and all I heard was "We're bobbing on the surface." I was like, dude, fuck everything. No, but man, there's just a funny thing about marijuana.
It makes this shit sound good.
Oh, it makes it sound so good. Yeah, this and Nas. I really got into Nas and Phish around the same time because we used to smoke pot, listen to Phish, and then the song "Shoot 'Em Up" by Nas is the funniest thing in the world when you're high because the chorus is "Shoot 'em up, just shoot 'em up, what? Kill, 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 murder, murder, murder." And when you were high in 14 in Alabama, you're like, oh my God. Yeah.
See, marijuana makes you think strange things.
Yeah, man. So that was the first experience I had with him, and I spent a full year fucking fighting the urge to like it. And then at a certain point, I'm really trying to remember what song it was that maybe broke me. I think actually I can play the exact song that did. I just liked it because the bass was so fucking squishy on this song, and I was like, dude, I think
I might know what it is.
Rivers is so passionate about Phish, he's going to marry a mermaid.
Oh, listen to this.
Oh yeah,
I loved this. I heard this the first time. I was like, what? Ooh, yeah. And
it sounds like
I like the slow part.
It sounds like a mixture of Killing in the Name of the intro of Killing in the Name of.
That's exactly what it reminded me of, actually.
Walk the Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Was not was.
Was. Not
Yeah,
was.
this is the one that I think this had to have been the one that kind of broke me.
Wow, this song "Down with Disease" it's considered a jam vehicle among Phish parlance. In that
Please explain that.
Okay, so there's a lot of songs in Phish in Phish concerts that never get jammed. They're just like like the Wedge. Wedge rarely gets jammed.
Sample in a jar.
I would say even like over half their catalog doesn't really get jammed. It's just played.
They'll play
whatever.
it straight through. Maybe add a minute to 2 minutes.
Yeah, they'll improvise a solo or whatever.
Yeah.
But the jam vehicle is something that is always open ended at the end of it, and so it's like a guaranteed jam is going to come out of it.
Yeah.
Where they go type 2 because there's 2 types of jamming.
Yeah.
And there's type 1 jamming, which is just like playing the same melody.
That's that you get at birth.
Right.
Then there's type 2.
Right. But type 1 is like yeah.
Good move.
So type 1 jamming, it's like it keeps the same like melody, song structure. It sounds like the song the whole time. Type 2 jamming, which is what Down with Disease always goes to. It always deviates and leaves the song. It becomes something totally unrecognizable and different. Yeah.
And that the other one is Stash famously has an element that they call a compression jam, which is where they basically will start off into the jam. They just get quieter and quieter until literally the song song stops and then everything comes back. So it's a compression jam in that it slows all the way down and then kind of explodes back out. So,
the Big Bang or something
like the Big Bang or like the Pixies, except it takes 45 minutes instead of 3.
Right.
Okay, the compression jam, Pat, I think is a simple case. But to put it into ordinary people talk, I think what they're saying is they only jam on certain numbers, and that's one that they really go off on a jam.
I listen to music that doesn't require scientific jargon.
But yeah, it's what are some other the types of type 1 and like some other songs in their thing
that would have type 1 or type 2? Well, Stashes, that's also an example of type 1 jamming.
Is that type 1? Okay.
Well, because they never leave.
Are there footnotes at the end of this episode?
Let's see, Carini, that's the one that goes type 2.
Was he in the NBA?
No, I think he's the announcer for Ring of Honor. Steve Carini, right?
Chalk Dust Torture, that's a great rocker that'll go type 1. Runaway Jim, that can go either way. It's often type 1, sometimes it's type 2.
Runaway Jim, yeah.
Where did he go?
Same with
he went on a golf cart, I believe, in the story, right? And is that the run?
No, that's Runaway Jim is a dog that ran away.
Oh, that's right, Runaway Jim.
Kung is the golf cart that ran away.
Yeah, okay.
I'm so impressed at Rivers.
Oh, well, and then there's the antelope who also
you run like him.
You run like him.
Right.
You run like the antelope.
And that's a type 1.
Out of control.
Right.
Rivers, what did you major in college? Fish?
Pretty much, yeah.
Call me a marine biologist because I'm majoring in fish in college.
That was funny is you said marijuana got you into it. I actually was a sober Phish fan for like 5 years. Like I started.
Oh, really?
Like,
People do that?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't smoke weed for like the first 5 years of being a huge Phish fan. I just loved the music. I was just so blown away that you could improvise, but also be on the same page. Yeah, that's another thing. I know we talk about the Grateful Dead being great musicians, and they were until the '80s, and they really just fell apart as musicians. But Phish, I think during their peak,
hit their commercial peak though.
Huh?
But weirdly hit their commercial peak in the 80s.
But you don't need to do the drug music package necessarily because I'm a big Motorhead fan, but I don't huff butane. So
that's true.
But Motorhead,
nor have I ever.
The accompanying vice from Motorhead I always find is gambling.
Well, it is for fools.
No, well,
that's the way I like it. Baby.
I don't want to live forever.
Well, no, it's actually.
Don't forget the Joker.
Well, actually, it's amphetamines because an amphetamine addict is a motorhead.
There you go. I always called them Murderhead because I pronounced the umlauts.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I just thought it was somebody who was really into cars.
Yeah,
no, a motorhead is somebody that's addicted to methamphetamines.
Oh, see, I just know it from the Blues Brothers because Jake goes, "All right, slow it down, you motorhead."
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's how I always assumed it was. Yeah,
yeah, I heard somebody reference Dan Aykroyd and call him specifically.
Here,
like
I thought it was just a name because it looked good on a T-shirt.
I mean, it does look cool on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
That's undeniable.
It looks like, remember Lowenbrow, which was this bear with it was a beer with a scary animal on it that they said was like a
griffin.
lion.
Yeah, it's like the heraldic griffin.
Yeah.
And it just says, Lowenbrow is like,
some scary shit on your beer.
When I was growing up, that's when we knew that my dad wanted, like, it was like a fancy party because it was like the Lowenbrow would show up.
Yeah, the commercials claimed it was guarded by lions.
Yeah, because it's the hierarchy was on the classiness of a party when I was growing up. I mean, because
Type 1.
Type 1.
Type 1 party.
Type 1 Budweiser. Type 2 Michelob in the candlepin bottle. Not Michelob Light, real Michelob in the candlepin bottle.
MGD?
No. Michelob. It's the one that has like the curvy bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's
Okay,
super thick.
Yep.
And then 3 is Lowenbrow. Lowenbrow, it's like, oh, this is like a high class party if the Lowenbrow shows up. But there's always going to be Bartles and James for the ladies.
Well, rule number 1 for throwing a really successful party is always have a good supply of Colt 45. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. Hell yeah.
So I got into them right during their 5-year hiatus. So I was like, I thought I'd never see them. The greatest band to have ever lived. I'm never going to get to see them.
Yeah, of course.
And then they came back in 2009.
Yeah.
I didn't go to their first concerts back because they were impossible to get. But then they were they played a concert in Hartford, Connecticut, and I had a friend up there. So I drove up from North Carolina by myself, like 12 hours to go to this concert. And they played a bunch of Rare songs, a bunch of like It was a great concert.
Just
for that.
for
It made it
Hartford.
worth it. Yeah.
Man, the first time I saw Phish was in June of 2003.
Oh, yeah.
So this would have been their second to last summer tour.
Right.
Before the big hiatus. It was my first experience in a lot.
Oh yeah.
Talk about the
lot scene.
The lot scene.
Shakedown Street is as they call
Shakedown
it.
Street.
From the song, pulled from the Grateful Dead name song.
Yeah. That's where you get your bud, man.
Well, there's always a line of tents set up. There's they designate a part of every parking lot for every concert to Shakedown, where they have people selling food, shirts. There is drugs for sure.
Well,
The gimmick tables.
The gimmick tables.
the tables are always like
Or as
glass
we called
and,
them in our day,
legitimate
Rivers, the sutlers.
things. Like
Oh, see, I was thinking like a music festival. That's just sort of everywhere. Shakedown Street specifically is where you go get your fucking weed and shit, man.
well,
But-
Shakedown, that's like where people. That is where
But-
people do that, but it's not on the tables. It's like
Right,
people
right.
walking around with backpacks
yeah,
saying
of
like
course. Nugs.
Molly,
Well,
Molly.
yeah,
like they'll
walking
say
by.
like just like whispering it, and you just have to like listen for it.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you've never been to one of these shows, as you're walking around, guys will just walk by you and go, "Nuggets,
Yep.
Molly," and then just like tell you whatever they're selling, and you're supposed to go, "Hey, man," and you stop them, and then that's where you buy your
Exactly. Yeah.
buy your stuff.
Like
dude.
Young Urban.
yeah, exactly. Just like Cafe on Urban.
Yeah, I love the lot scene, and people are always tailgating and shit for like
Yeah.
hours and hours beforehand. I did one time, so on this, 2010 is when I saw the most shows. I saw like 12 shows that summer.
Fuck. So
with
did you
my
follow them? Follow them around?
yeah, me and my my now ex girlfriend, we went out to
What happened?
Well,
is it
she-
because you dragged her to 12 Phish shows, Joe?
well, she turns out she's a lesbian in actuality.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We found that out a year later.
Okay.
But your Phish fan girlfriend actually a lesbian. Who
Hey,
would've-
man.
who
You
would've thought?
know, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question on this? Do women like Phish?
Oh, yeah.
There's actually a
man.
decent amount of them do.
Dude, yeah, you go to a Phish show. I mean, there are a lot of dudes, but the girls who are into it are really, really into it.
Oh no,
There's a pretty good amount of hot girls I've think.
I when I went to college, I remember like when I was a freshman in college, I would talk to ladies, and it would always like this happened. I remember the first time this happened. This happened a few times, but the first time this happened, like they'd be like, "Oh, you're a music guy," because they were like, because I'd be wearing like a Husker Du shirt,
Yeah.
and like or some punk band or whatever, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a band." They're like, "Oh, you're into music?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm into music," kind of in that kind of pretentious like way, which an 18-year-old awkward guy's really into music. And they're just like, "Yeah, I'm really into music." It's like, "What are you into?" And they're like, "Oh, String Cheese Incident, Phish and stuff."
Fuck.
And I'd be like, "Duh," like, because I didn't know what they were talking about. Like, I thought they were just making things up.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were just.
I feel that way all the time.
Yeah, they're just like, "Yeah, I'm into the Jumpstart Toddlers and the."
String Cheese Incident. That's one of the worst band names of all time.
The only reason I know who they are is because they played this little club right outside VCU. Where there's some little hole in the wall when I was there, and that's why I know who they are.
And if you don't know String Cheese Incident, they're sort of on the bluegrass-ish end of it. They have a mandolin player, Michael Kang.
Who's Michael Kang?
Michael Kang is their.
He's that guy that's in all the movies like Zulu.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was about to say. The guy
He's their
from Dirty
mandolin
Rotten
player.
Scoundrel.
He's the mandolin player.
Rivers, you have to hear this song.
Michael Kang.
You have to hear the. I can't remember the name of the fucking jam band.
Hand me my mandolin. Mr. Wine, hand me my mandolin.
You have to hear this song. The jam that they do in this song. String Cheese Incident.
Oh, you can hear it. Yeah, this is String Cheese. So if you don't.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
It sounds like music they play at the Brazilian restaurant.
Would you like some more fucking plantains, sir?
Yes. I feel like I'm in Donkey Kong country. This is pretty good.
Yeah, so they're kind of like, they do salsa too.
Yeah, this is good. Who are these guys?
This is the String Cheese Incident.
Hell, I should have gone to see them. They were right on the next block.
This sounds like the theme song for like an Adventure Kids show or something.
Or you know what? When you go to the zoo and there's like the exhibit for the kiwis.
Welcome. Visit the amazing tropical birds in the birdhouse. Yeah.
The zebra normally spends most of its daylight hours. Oh, yeah. This is good shit.
I liked it. You liked one of these, yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you consider Allman Brothers a jam band, though?
I would.
Yeah,
well,
I would say they were the early proto.
Because I mean, if there's a band, they jam constantly, and they are a band.
So I would actually, I would say I'd give two answers to that. I would definitely lump the original lineup of the Allman Brothers, the Dickie Betts years, all that stuff, the late '60s, early '70s. Lump them in with Santana and the Grateful Dead, where it's like they're proto
Mountain too,
Mountain to some extent.
Yeah, Mountain.
They're like the Godfathers, I guess.
I didn't know anybody else here liked Mountain, but Mountain, I mean, I went to Woodstock just to see them and Quill, and I took too much of the brown acid. But Mountain is something else.
Yeah.
Mountain, Mississippi Queen is the greatest song ever written because the whole song is just fat, and that's why it's good because it's the fattest riffs and the fattest guitars.
Well, the lead singer looks like Andre the Giant.
He looks like Andre the Giant. He sounds like he's just eating a big bacon chip. We're down around Wilkes-Barre. Well, we had a way. Live a cage and raid it. Well, the rest of them dudes was making their bread. And it's got the cowbell. Like Stan Hansen coming in the studio with some. Mississippi Queen is probably the greatest song ever written.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But I would put all of them in the kind of proto category. That said, years later, they hired O'Teal Burbridge as their bass player, who is a fucking amazing bass player, but they sort of were able to seamlessly transition into their role as like
member by member they reformed themselves
jam band headliners.
Like Warren Haynes.
Warren Haynes played for them, and he's amazing.
I kind of noticed that shit happening because you remember you talk about Garcia dies and everybody goes over to Phish,
right?
And I noticed especially in the South, like a lot of people going to Allman Brothers.
Allman Brothers, because Widespread Panic and Government Mule. Those are kind of the three Southern rock. Widespread Panic is a band that I don't really like that much, but Dave Schools at the very least is one of the biggest financial backers of the Athens music scene. He actually paid for most of my favorite Drive-By Truckers records, Southern Rock Opera. He helped raise the money for that.
He was also behind the reissue of like Athens Inside Out, which is a fantastic music documentary.
Yeah,
it's really good.
So if nothing else, I respect the shit out of the Widespread Panic. They're just not my favorite band. But
Phish never was that huge in the South. Even now, they only play a handful of songs in the Deep South.
Yeah,
is it a Vermont thing or something?
It's a East Coast, Northeast. West, like they were still big on the West Coast to some extent, not as big as on the East Coast, but
I think after Jerry died, it kind of went to Phish, and then around their first hiatus, which was 2000, right?
Mm-hmm.
From 2000 until
then, it splintered a big deal.
Then that was kind of the point where the jam band scene sort of splintered into a million pieces, where it became there were so many bands with so many different kinds of sounds that it sort of became a personal taste.
Yeah, because then Phish came back.
Is that where we are now?
Well, because there's like the ones that are like really just over the top, like Bella Fleck and the Flecktones.
I fucking love
no. You have to have like a master's degree
Bella
to be
actually,
a fan of. Or
he
something.
played with Phish on a couple of studio
where it's like
records.
Victor Wooten's got like a 9-string bass or something.
Guys, I'm still getting used to the monkeys.
Bella Fleck and the Flecktones are they're mostly, I'd say 99% instrumental. I think they have a few songs where Victor Wooten will rap or Future Man will sing.
Okay, hold on now. This was Bela Lugosi and it's Future Man.
Yeah.
And it's Woody Wooten or something like that.
Yeah, so Bella Fleck and the Flecktones, their classic lineup is Bella Fleck, who plays banjo and electric banjo.
Oh, the guy in the movies, right? Bela Fleck.
He played Batman too. He also he plays banjo, electric banjo, and Batman.
So it's one of them celebrity bands like Dog Star.
Pretty much.
It's Bella Fleck.
Okay. Oh, and the guy that's always with them, right?
Future Man.
Leonardo D'Angelo there.
They call him Future Man.
Yeah, they call him.
Okay. So this is a celebrity band, and it's like the Traveling Wilburys.
He wears a lucha mask, and he's called Future Man.
This band sounds pretty good.
It's Bella Fleck who plays banjo. You got Victor Wooten, who plays the bass, one of the most accomplished bass players of all time. Then you got Jeff Coffin over on saxophone. He usually will play a tenor and a soprano.
So he's Coffin on the saxophone?
Mm-hmm. He'll play the tenor sax and the soprano at the same time, just like both blowing into both.
He coughs into both.
He's fucking great. And then their drummer is not actually a drummer. He has built a machine called a drumatar, and his name is Future Man. And Future Man went to jail because...
Okay, this is too many weird things in one. This is like the New Day. It's just overbooked with detail after detail, and it's like...
I'm just trying to get to the funny part, which is that Future Man
as opposed to the guy who went to jail and the guy who plays two flutes at once. I seen a movie, but it wasn't a guy doing that.
Future Man.
It wasn't Jethro Tull, folks.
Or Roland Rashawn Kirk.
Future Man went to jail because he said that he was from a different time, so he didn't have to pay his taxes.
Well, yeah.
That really happened.
Look, always people like that have been persecuted throughout the
Sun
ages.
Ra.
Sun Ra is from Saturn, for instance.
If you want to get out of any governmental obligation, claim that you're born on another planet. It works a lot of the time. But it's not
Freely.
Perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, this is Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. This is Big Countries from the record Live at the Quick. I was a big mark for Bella Fleck, and still am. I mean, it's still good music.
Well, no, this just sounds like regular music. I don't see anybody with triple instruments or going to jail because they're from the future.
Yeah. But yeah, he's playing an electric.
That's beautiful.
It's an electric banjo. This is a beautiful song. It really is. Their name is ridiculous, but
the dude's playing a bassoon.
Okay,
is he the one that does that part that's like?
Yeah, I think so.
Is this a cover of the song "Big Country"?
No.
This almost sounds like, you know how they have Chinese restaurants? If in China they had like barbecue places, this is what they would play in them.
Barbecue places in China.
Yeah, because this would be like Chinese American music.
That's great.
But it's not bad though.
This sounds like if an NPR jingle was an entire song.
Yeah.
You are listening to The World Today on NPR. Coming up in the next hour, we are going to go to Kenya, where
Phish does have a song called "All Things Reconsidered."
All they need is a couple of Irish guys dancing, and they could probably sell a video of this.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I never got into jam bands and for the same reason I never got into
also, by the way,
Steely Dan.
Victor Wooten's t-shirt or his shirt is fucking amazing.
Well, they can't see the shirt on the radio.
Is that a shirt or a vest?
I don't know what it is.
It's not his guitar strap.
It's made out of colors. And
oh yeah, but it makes him look like he's a children's musician.
It's a biking shirt. It looks like because it's got like a zipper up the front, and
he looks like he's a backup musician for the Wiggles or something.
They got kettle drums.
They've got it all.
They got it all.
Oh yeah,
Live at the Quick, man.
I've noticed though they have more than one flute guy in this instead of.
I mean,
Coffin's the bald guy playing.
So
sax.
which guy is Future Man? Is that the guy that's playing the steel drums?
No, Future Man.
He couldn't make this gig because he was busy in the future.
Yeah.
He was in jail for
You know, you think here's the thing: if he was really from the future, he would have known that would happen, so he wouldn't have done it in the first place.
The reason I don't know. I never got into jam bands, or for the same reason I didn't get into Steely Dan is because they suck. I'm kidding.
I've been being polite the whole time.
Well, my thing is that they're too smart for me.
Yeah.
Like they're just. I like my music pretty. I either like it like super smart, like certain types of jazz and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
but there's no lyrics to that.
Yeah, it's like, Yusuf Lateef or something like that. Like real smart.
Yeah.
Or if there is,
Oh, that's Cat Stevens after he became a Muslim, right?
Or I like my music really stupid.
Right.
And they're jam bands, they occupy that space in between. And I think that's why I never got into them. Like, I never befriend
You're not a big pothead either, Pat.
Yeah, I'm not a pothead at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no reason.
Whoa, he's wearing a pirate
That's
hat.
Future Man, dog. Yeah.
Dude, Future Man rules.
Yeah. This is some solo.
He
Future
looks
Man.
like Johnny Carson when he would put the letters up to his head.
the Karnak the Magnificent. Yeah. See, this is the drumatar that he's playing.
Oh, what the hell is that?
It's a sampler, basically, that he built himself, and it's got all the drum sounds.
Wow, that's like Fat Albert, but high tech.
This guy rules.
That's Future Man.
So these guys are all in a band together.
They are in a band together. They haven't played in a long time. The Flex.
Is this
Did you ever
a
listen?
jam
Did you ever?
band,
Did you ever listen to the Flectones? You ever seen them before?
I've never seen them, but
they're like fun as shit to watch, just because they're all like they're fun to watch in the same way like the really accomplished jazz band is fun to watch, where they're all such kind of experts on their instrument that when they do take solos, I mean it's jazz essentially, and you're just watching.
Well,
like,
that's what I was going to say. This sounds like it's jazz stuff.
So they're one of they're definitely included in that kind of splintering that we're talking about in the early 2000s, where you've got very jazz influence on their end, to the point where they have
they're
almost
the
no
jam
lyrics.
band that'll play at the jazz festival.
Totally,
right?
yeah. They actually headlined the Alex City, Alabama Jazz Fest back in 2003, and I saw them for free there. They blew my fucking mind.
So they're like jazz crossover.
Very much so.
I mean, Phish is even like jazz rock in a way.
You know, Phish, I actually started, I had a hard time kind of defining their sound until I started listening to Frank Zappa, and I realized like, they're like
hugely influenced by Zappa.
More so than the Dead, I would actually argue.
100%. I mean, Trey specifically was a huge Zappa fan.
Yeah.
That's because all the orchestral arrangements, a lot of their early stuff is like, these really intricate like fugues and like there's fucking fugues.
Yeah.
You know?
and their lyrics are silly too. They're not afraid to write just stupid shit for the sake of being silly.
And that's a big alienation point for a lot of people.
Yeah,
is they can't get on board with like just the meaningless fucking weird ass,
which is like
smegma dogmatogram fish market stew. That's a line from a Phish
Police
song.
in the corner coming for you. Yeah. Okay,
Oh God, that sounds like the Beach Boys.
It's a little.
Remember that shit? Collimated Ruins, Domino, and shit. When the Beach Boys stopped having sentences in their songs.
Yeah, it's not unlike that. Yeah.
Van Dyke Parks was just going through a thesaurus and putting words together. I think at that point.
Yeah, man. It's some of that stuff. If you don't pay too much attention to Mama Sing when she got a jaboo, Mama Sing got a jaboo too, which is the line of the
That's
only
the
chord.
capital of some country,
Those are the
right?
only words of the song "Got a Jaboo."
That's the capital of some country, right? In like the Middle East.
It's like an oil state.
Yeah.
Or the song David Bowie, which is David Bowie UB40.
UB40.
That's those
the only lyrics.
Okay, this is fucking kick-ass. I don't even care. Haters gonna hate. This is a kick-ass song.
I know. I like it too, but I get it. I get why people would hate this.
It sounds like the Doobie Brothers. Without love,
Where would you be now?
It doesn't really bring David Bowie to mind, though.
Hang on. Here it comes.
Right
Oh
here.
yeah.
David Bowie.
This sounds like the Doobie Brothers wrote a song about David Bowie.
It kind of
with a little bit of the Dead in there, too.
I never thought about it. Yeah, it does kind of sound like the Doobies a little bit. But yeah, those are the only lines.
The studio version really does do injustice to a lot of these songs.
No, that's true. I just kind of wanted
It sounds like Mike Watt is playing bass on that song.
That song's like a hard rockin' like live number.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
I'll get defensive over Phish a little bit.
Oh no, I will too. I think that.
Well, how do we define hard rockin' when it's Phish?
Right, that's my favorite thing.
That's true.
I used to watch these things on VH1 about the Grateful Dead, and they talk about how balls out rock their live versions of Sugar Magnolia was. It wasn't exactly Motorhead when you was watching it.
Right. Well, they will do things like this, where like this is Phish covering Rage Against the Machine, and them trying to rock is like the funniest shit in the world, because it is still so like you can't get over that like fucking Juilliard level of like guitar knowledge. So you hear it and you're like, oh, he's trying to rock, but he still has to noodle a bit.
Is this Mr. Van Driesen from Beavis and Butthead leading this?
Now, class, I'm in the middle of my jam.
This is them rocking as hard as they can. This is them doing Rage. This was on the 4th of July, I believe, in Atlanta.
It was.
You are at the new birth of Spinal Tap Mark 2.
See, he's still got the little jangly.
Yeah, everybody's bopping.
Yeah, he's playing it too good,
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, this sounds like prog rock. Wow.
Killing up the name of.
Oh lordy, yeah. So
You know what? Phish is one of the best cover bands of all time, though.
No, dude,
Not on this.
Not on that song. But
I only submit that, like, I'd never deny my fandom of the band. I still like the band, but we have to be able to laugh at it and call it what it is.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Because I think they feel the same way about their own careers, where
Definitely.
it's like, oh yeah, okay, so we're a weird, funny band, and we're a bunch of dorks. Like their drummer wears a dress on stage with like it plays a vacuum cleaner. You know, for instance, they're not a band that takes themselves very, very.
Is he a
seriously.
housewife or something?
He's supposed to be, yeah. So he's got like his like vacuum cleaner, and he's got like a kind of like a moo-moo.
Yeah,
that he wears
he puts
on
the
stage.
vacuum cleaner on reverse and then puts his mouth over it, and like his lip movements play different.
Like Peter Frampton or something.
Like a low rent trailer park like Peter Frampton.
Or like the Grateful Didge or something.
What's the scene like now? That's actually because I've been sort of out of the loop. The last time I saw Phish was at Bonnaroo in 2009 when they played with Bruce Springsteen, and it was fucking amazing. But yeah, that was the last time I saw them.
I mean, they've gotten a lot more mainstream. I think their fan base in general is more mainstream. Everybody knows who Phish is now. Like that, they've been back for like 7 years. Like it's not like they're not a mystery. Whereas I think maybe they were a little bit more mysterious earlier in their career. I mean, it's like a lot of hardcore fans, but there's a lot of people who were like I've taken friends they're not Phish fans. I'll take them to like one concert. They can enjoy it, but they're not going to like go home and like listen to much else.
Right.
But they're a real weird band. I think that's why I originally got into them. Is like I always have enjoyed being the weird one. Like I've always liked being an outsider a little bit. Like I know none of my friends were ever into it when I was first into it.
Yeah,
and I think I enjoyed like holding that over that. Like that made me unique or stand out or some shit.
Well, and I like the genre bending that they do.
They do that too.
And it's actually what kind of led me to not care about Phish anymore is when I discovered the band Ween.
Oh yeah,
because
Ween's great.
They do what Phish does, but they're really tight about it. Like as far as like they all the genres that they do and stuff like that. Because Phish will do like country.
They're way funnier
rock,
too,
stuff like that. Ween does all that stuff, but they don't jam necessarily. And when they do, it's just Dean Ween just fucking being metal as shit, and it's great.
Their lyrics are fucking hilarious, too.
Right? So and Phish actually, that's how I got into them. Is Phish covered "Roses Are Free"?
That's right,
which is one of my favorite Ween songs, but. It was right towards the end of high school. Like I found Ween, and I kind of like transitioned out of being as huge of a Phish head as I. And it also was around the time I quit smoking pot too. It was right after high school, but So I don't know.
It's like the old joke. You remember what did the Deadhead say when he ran out of pot? This band can't play for shit.
Album that I always point people to because it's what hooked me for good was New Year's '95 was there. It was Madison Square Garden, which is
that the one where they do Shine?
They do,
yeah.
So it's like it's a really long album, but like just skip through a song. Like if there's a song that starts and you like hate how like just the tone of it sounds, just skip to the next one.
Yeah,
just like because they have enough genre bending, as you said. Like there's enough different ones, and there's some of the best playing that like, and it's totally improvised. Like that's what always blew me away. There's some of the best jams of their whole career were on that album. So
as far as like studio,
Billy Breathes is one I go to.
Billy Breathes is good. I always point people to Hoist.
Hoist is good too,
which has the big country horns, and so those songs tend to be a little more tight.
Farmhouse isn't even that bad, but I point.
But
Billy
it does
Breathes,
have Got a Jaboo,
right?
It's gonna turn anybody off. But Piper's dope on that on that one.
Yeah, the Billy Breathes. I think that's a legitimately great studio album. I would say.
Yeah, I think they put a lot of work into that one.
Yunta's the one that David Bowie's off of. It's like weird and like late '80s. It's like their first album, but that was a decent. It's like if you're into weird shit, that's a good that's a good one.
It's all words, but I don't know what any of it means.
This is now y'all know how I felt during the basketball episode.
Oh, I know. Obviously, Paddle, we're just like, wow, man, you guys need PhDs in marine biology because y'all know your fish.
A few weeks ago, I was sitting here going like, the Durantula. I don't know who Kevin Durant is. I don't know what it means that he went to whatever.
Yeah, but I could have gone way over the top on the basketball.
That's true. You did. Yeah, you held back.
I walk around like this every day. I go outside and people are talking about things.
Yeah.
Joe, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
You can find me on Twitter, Joe_Quint. I also run a podcast, Choose Your Own Religion, which you can find on Facebook and ChooseYourOwnReligion.com.
Yeah, I did. And if you haven't heard the show, I did an episode of that. So
that's fucking great.
Need a jumping off point and you're not tired of hearing me talk, listen to my episode of Choose Your Own Religion. We had a fucking good talk. We talked about the Leuven brothers.
What religion did you choose?
We made up our own at the end. That's the podcast. You can just sort of pick and choose things, make up your own things. I think I decided on like nature spirits and ancestor worship with a heavy emphasis on country gospel.
Cool. Okay.
But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. And you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoodspod. Pat, what should they do when they get to iTunes?
Rate, review, and subscribe.
Pat,
5 stars.
I mentioned last week, Pat's birthday was last week. My birthday is this week. You can get us a birthday present right now by logging on to iTunes. Go rate, review, subscribe to the Goods from the Woods podcast, and that's all you need from us. That's the best birthday present we can get.
Pat, born on 4th of July.
Fucking A.
Rivers, born on Bastille Day.
Bastille Day.
If you love liberty and if you love America, send them a damn present.
That's right. Yeah, send us a present. Go to iTunes, rate, review, subscribe. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Make it happen, baby.
And if you're out there to not chopping wood,
watch out for your middle finger.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
if you have to cut off a finger, make sure it's on the hand that you don't the picking whatever the hand is you don't
The
use.
fretboard finger.
The
Don't do that.
fretboard finger.
Don't do that one.
You need those.
I was gonna play a song to take us out. Not a jam band. Don't worry. If you've hated this so far,
Well, it would have been apropos.
It would have been apropos. But I actually when
And
I
that
went
don't mean you're digging in the dirt with farm implements, baby.
when I went up to Yakima for the wedding, they had my friend Mike, who had his wedding up there, hired a great local band to play for the wedding, and it's a couple, Naveed Elliott and Jen Borst, and they're in a band called Planes on Paper, and they were fucking amazing at this wedding. And I got to talking to them, and they're like, "Hey, we're actually going to be in LA playing at the date in the next couple weeks." So I went and checked them out. They played here in Hollywood. Fucking beautiful, amazing voices.
Awesome, yeah.
They have an EP out right now. It's called The Ruins, and we're gonna hear that song, The Ruins. So yeah, this is Planes on Paper, and we will see you next week.
We learned how to swim. Every hour studying chemistry. We were cowards, we learned to swim. Gosh, that was way back when. In the lean years when you could trust your friends. 'Cause thieves were thicker then. God, thieves were thicker then. That should have been the end. But I don't blame you that you had to try to make me your alibi. I'm just confused why it's so hard to hold my tongue. Well, I guess my daddy's still the general's kid. Same way I'm still his. That's probably what it is. temples we burn to the ground. And all those were to blame. We found to make up for mistakes we made and beg our dues be paid. We pray our dues be paid. And here's the view of the ruins. Prove to you we never knew what we were doing. And a city raised around, temples we raised to the ground. And all that's left of our past is solemn sad artifacts, fell ribbons and photographs of the years we learned to swim.
The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.